For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the Insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber. This is Derrick Evans. We apologize for the errors for the show last night. We had some issues getting the stream going out on Rumble. There was some kind of outage that affected all three destinations we normally go to, but it's the end of the week. And man, it feels like it's been a pretty good week again.
I feel like it's been a great week, Mike. I'm super excited about this, man. As always, you guys like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. And just want to say, just when you think you're tired of winning, we're not, because that's all we've been doing is winning and winning and winning. It's just getting even better. We've got lots to cover. Appreciate you guys for being here.
Oh, yeah. Well, these deep state pickle kissers are in full-blown panic mode across the board, and we're going to jump into a number of different stories. Some of these, like, I wouldn't have ever guessed things like this could have happened even just a few years ago, but here we are. And before we get into like the real news, I want to go ahead and highlight, and again, obviously some of these are going to kind of be old news now, because we missed the day yesterday, but I still want to get into some of these appointments that Trump's made and some of the rest of what's going on. So first and foremost, one of the big ones to break the internet, Trump nominates RFK Jr. for his HHS secretary. And man, what an upgrade. Look at this little monster we've got in there now, this confused man pretending to be a woman. And what we're going to get, somebody that actually cares about the health of Americans, somebody that, you know, there's other things you can say about RFK Jr. that you may not like. I don't want him anywhere near gun control and things like that. But this is a guy that really is passionate about the health of Americans, taking away the power from these corrupt corporations that have weaseled their way into government groups like the FDA that are basically buying off politicians, buying off people within these cabinets so they can poison us, poison our kids, and are corrupting science and health. And that's going to change, and they're afraid.
I'm honestly expecting RFK to make Chess Day a national holiday. I think that's going to be a weekly holiday. I'm super excited about that. But in all seriousness, man, to your point, I mean, we had a man pretending to be a woman who's in charge of health, someone with a mental health issue. And then these left-wing media people have the audacity to say that President Trump's picks are not qualified. I'm sorry, but they don't get to mention anything about qualifications at this point. First of all, he is fully qualified, but even if he wasn't, I don't care if he just picks some random person. It doesn't matter. They have no room to talk about qualifications at this point after the last 4 years that we sat through, not to mention the other dude wearing a dress who stole luggage at an airport. I mean, we won't even get into that. So it's absolutely awesome to watch the liberal heads explode. It was awesome to watch the stock prices of these pharmaceutical companies actually nosedive when RFK was nominated.
Oh, yeah, that tells you, like, they know what's up, and their investors do, too, that things about to change, and it's going to be good for them. You know, and we had another, I guess this isn't exactly an appointment, but some other big breaking news. Senate Republicans push for RNC co-chair Laura Trump to replace Marco Rubio's Senate seat in Florida. And again, I think this is amazing news. I am a little concerned about who they'll put in the RNC to replace her. She's done a fantastic job. When we all saw it during the election, their attorneys were on it. I mean, I've got no real complaints. The minute they saw shenanigans going around wherever, they put their foot down, they put an end to it, they filed injunctions. They did exactly what we've been asking them for. So I hope, and I'm sure they do, I'm sure they've got somebody in there that will get this agency running and streamline it so it'll actually fight for us the way that they're supposed to.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited about that. I want to give a quick shout out to DWAC Boomer and Godward over in the Rumble chat. Appreciate you guys for being here. And then in terms of this, we were talking off air, Mike, just, over the last day or so about this potential appointment. And it seems to be picking up steam. I think when it first came out, it was kind of a leak test, to be honest with you. And I think you're starting to, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's definitely being taken a lot more serious now than it was when it first came out. In terms of there does seem to be some sort of movement behind this. Whether it happens or not, who knows. But if it does happen, it'd be awesome for President Trump to have an actual 100% loyal ear in those Senate chambers, because they're already trying to stab President Trump in the back. She will be able to come in and say, this is who is actually, the one that's preventing these things from happening. This is the one who's, organizing all this resistance behind the scenes that you guys, because we see stuff in the media, but there might be a couple of them behind the scenes who don't talk to the media a whole lot, or they say different things behind closed doors, and she'll be able to let them in on that. And then the other funny thing would be, even as a freshman senator, she would instantly have that star power, that name power, and a lot of the other senators would also be afraid to double cross her, just knowing that doing so would most likely result in President Trump endorsing someone against them in their upcoming primary. So I think it's good. As you said, it would suck to lose her as the RNC co-chair. She's done a great job. But in terms of the importance of the next 4 years, specifically the next 2 years of having, control of the House, the Senate, and presidency, I think that it's worth it to get her in there so that we can have someone loyal in that side of the chamber to report back to President Trump and keep things in line over there. Her mere presence might keep some of these shenanigans from happening just out of fear.
Yeah, well, she'll be able to fire the shot across the bow that's needed a lot of the time when there's chicanery going on in the Senate, when she gets the heads up. Just being able to deliver a floor speech that's essentially direct from President Trump will probably put an end to some of this stuff before it ever comes to fruition. And yeah, with the RNC chair, I mean, we know Rona Romney McDaniels will be back up for the role. And again, I'm sure they have somebody good in mind for it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And honestly, there's time. We don't have another election to worry about for 2 years, but we do need somebody in there that is a real leader that will actually fight for the America First Republicans and won't be just this establishment rhino stabbing us in the back every chance that they get, or spending $1 gazillion on hair, makeup, and fancy hotels. So it's a win either way. Let me go ahead and pull this next one up here real quick, because this is also, again, I think this is big too, and I feel like this is also a shot across the bow to all everybody that's complaining about the Department of Education right now. Donald Trump details plan to create the American Academy to provide free higher education to all citizens. And this is something that's brilliant. And there were actually some other people a number of years ago that tried to put something like this together. The idea was essentially a free online college. I know Glenn Beck, I'm pretty sure, sunk some money into it. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he was in that, oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. That Will Smith movie where he was went from living in a bathroom to a Wall Street executive, Pursuit of Happiness. But the real life person in that, Glenn Beck and some others, had talked about financing something like this, but they ran into all kinds of bumps and problems. But essentially the idea would be you'd have an online academy, just like any of the ones that you can sign up for now, that you could go get a degree in something that would actually be useful. And it also cuts out all these anti-American communist colleges that we have across our country now. Absolutely.
Well, quick shout out to Strafer over in the chat, and then Brent from Canada watching over in the Twitter chat. Appreciate you guys for being here. Absolutely. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, the very people who've been screaming, wanting free college for everyone, are now going to be opposed to this, because it's number one, it's still going to go to their donor class of these quote unquote, elite universities, liberal indoctrination camps, if you will. And the thing is, I think from a few years ago, when Glenn Beck and all them was attempting that, to now is just the technology is so much better now, and there's that opportunity to scale this at a wide scale. If you really think about it, I mean, people don't get the accreditation from it, but most people can learn anything they want to through YouTube and Google and all that stuff. Anyways, they just don't get the actual accreditation for it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can even set in on like Harvard and other sort of classes online on some of these things. And I know, man, there's the one college that's really good with it's in Ohio,
Hillsdale.
I think, maybe Hillsdale. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, with so they got a lot of free courses and stuff on there as well. So really, what this is doing is just saying, hey, we're going to take a lot of this stuff, and we're going to be able to allow people to get an actual accreditation, of course, after passing the courses and all that. And I think this is awesome. And honestly, I don't think that Trump would publicly say this right now. Maybe he would since the campaign's over. I do think part of this is an attack on a backdoor attack, if you will, on these liberal indoctrination camps, because now your child doesn't have to leave. They don't have to go set into some dorm room somewhere, taking out student loans and paying all this money for something just for them to be brainwashed by these cults at these liberal indoctrination camps. Now they can live at home, they can work, and they can take classes online when they get home and still under your roof, save a lot of money, and graduate with no debt and have a degree and ready to go do something. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to be much harder to implement than just waving a wand and getting it done. But Trump's got 4 years, and this man has surprised us all on many things. And so I'm excited to see what happens here.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of thing he could partner with a college like Hillsdale or another one that is not even just conservative, but somebody that is pro-American. You know, he's made it very clear that there's going to be a lot of things changing with our education system, because that is the root of a lot of the problems we're facing today, is just how they've turned into anti-American indoctrination centers that are there to turn your kids gay and make them into little communists, little race communists, so they can destroy the rest of America. And that's going to stop, at least if they still want federal funds. Otherwise, I suppose they could pay for it themselves. But if there's not federal money available, they're going to have a lot fewer students coming in the door. So easy way to fix that problem.
Well, and these whole student loans for everybody is what really drove the cost of college up. I mean, if you think about it, you talk to our parents' generation, they were able to work, a college kid job, wait tables, or, be a EMT, or, something that you could actually do without a degree, go to school and graduate with little to no debt. And now then they said, well, everybody's going to be able to get these student loans. It's government backed, blah, 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 free money. And college is like, oh, okay, awesome. Well, now instead of $3,000 for this semester, it's going to be $25,000 for this semester. And it just has continued to go up. And at the same time, they self-enrich themselves. They got these huge endowments now. We're talking billion-dollar endowments. These are public universities with these. There's no reason at all for the taxpayers to continue funding this outrageous
scam,
Ponzi scheme. Yeah, it's a scam. That's exactly what it is at the end of the day. Now, the private universities, I don't care what they charge, I don't care what they do, but even a lot of them, they still use, people get the government-backed loans to go to these private schools. So it's still, they claim to be a private school, but the majority of their money that's coming in is actually from the taxpayers via student loans and Pell Grants and everything else. And so there's got to be some actual major changes here. I've got student loans. I am not in favor of abolishing people's student loans. At the end of the day, we took those out. We need to be paying them back. It's not my cousin didn't do that. He went straight into working in the oil fields and stuff. And why should he have to pay back my student loans? That's ridiculous. But moving forward, we do need to have some serious structural change here in order to prevent the next generation from being duped in the way that our generation was, because we were that generation of, they told me in my senior year in high school, if you didn't have a college degree when you're 30, you want to be able to flip burgers at McDonald's, and we believed it. You know what I mean? And so everybody had to go to college. And I think that this plan that Trump has, however it comes out, I think that's attempting to solve that issue, and I hope that it does.
Yeah, I think at the very least it'll put a dent in their foothold, and just restructuring the student loan programs and everything else they're going to do with the Department of Education. Like, that is really what the fix that we need as a nation right now. Well, our next story is getting a little more serious or scary. I'm not sure if this rises to the level of sedition, but it's pretty close. So I got a video for you guys in a second. But Dem congressman openly reveals plot to form shadow government, names individuals who could undermine every Trump cabinet member. Let me go ahead and roll this, and then we'll talk.
Trump attempts to weaponize the justice system against his political opponents with Matt Gaetz at the helm. We could see incoming Senator Adam Schiff is our shadow attorney general, arguing against replacing our independent prosecutors with Trump loyalists. If Trump seeks to eliminate the Department of Education, Congresswoman Johanna Hayes, a former Teacher of the Year, could step up as shadow education secretary to loudly defend public education in the United States. If Trump orders Marco Rubio to hand Ukraine and much of Eastern Europe to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Congressman Greg Meeks, as Shadow Secretary of State, could be a strong voice in support of maintaining international relationships and protecting democracy at home and abroad. Senator Michael Bennet as Shadow Treasury Secretary, and Congresswoman Susan DelBene as Shadow Commerce Secretary could help ensure the middle class and small businesses have a voice in government and call out Trump's proposed tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. As Shadow Defense Secretary, Congressman Adam Smith, a great representative for the people of Washington and not a Fox News host, could counter Trump's threat to use military force against his political opponents and work to ensure that the Department of Defense stays loyal to the Constitution and not some wannabe dictator. And Senator Tammy Duckworth could argue against cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs that would delay the benefits and care our service members have so rightly earned. If Trump hands over the EPA to big oil ally Lee Zeldin, we could see Congresswoman Kathy Castor pushing back for environmental protection and conservation to protect the air we breathe and the water we drink. And if Trump pushes to ban abortion nationwide, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro could step in as Shadow Secretary of Health and Human Services to defend women's right to choose and argue against the gutting of Medicare by Trump and his cronies. Mr. Speaker, new times require new solutions. The Shadow Cabinet isn't just about opposing extreme MAGA attacks on our government. It's also about making clear what we stand for, not just what we're against.
So are we choosing teams now? Like, is it official? Like, we choosing sides? Is that what he's doing out here on the House floor, choosing sides?
Sounds like it.
I think there's a lot of us on the conservative side is like, sure, let's go ahead and do that, man. If that's what you guys want to do at this point. I mean, I'd say right now, if they start honestly attempting to organize a real coup against President Trump, January 6th will be a cakewalk in the park. It'll be a blip on the radar, but I'll forget that it even happened. And it should have. That should be what happens if they try to do this. This isn't. And here's the thing: they made a big deal about January 6th edition and all this stuff. We were just citizens. We were just. I mean, I was an elected official, but I mean, for the most part, we were all just citizens. This is an actual member of the U.S. House of Representatives on the House floor in the House chambers stating this publicly. Like, I don't know if they're going to claim what happened on January 6th was an attempt to overthrow the government and they charge people with conspiracy and all this stuff. This would at the very least, from the precedent that they've set, if this was at the very least border on the line of conspiracy to overthrow the government, which is, I think, 20 to 30 years in prison there, Congressman. So have fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to decide if this rises to the level of an insurrection or if this is still just a sedition. I guess it depends if they move forward with it or not. But again, we'll have a capable attorney general in Matt Gaetz, and if this moves forward, I don't want to hear any complaints from anybody if these people start getting locked up for literally, they're openly stating it. They want to put together a shadow government in protest of Trump's government. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? But we'll let them do whatever, this is the games they want to play. Fine. CNN apparently thinks it's a great idea. They've spent several segments now on their network today talking about how wonderful this is. So these guys just can't accept their loss and just keep digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole.
Yeah, well, Mama Rena over here in the Twitter chat says, sounds like we have a shadow group that needs to be expelled from Congress. I would agree 100%. Philip says that this is 100% sedition, like straight up, and I agree. Sue Gallagher in the Twitter chat says, how dare these people think they will shadow a government over a president who the majority voted for? I mean, and I agree with all this. Shout out to Diesel Dave over here in West Virginia, watching the show with us tonight. Appreciate all you guys in the chat there. Killzilla as well. Appreciate you guys. And that's the thing though. This is 100% organized sedition, or at least the very least conspiracy. He didn't just come out there and throw those names out for no reason. He didn't do all that. I mean, there was a group of people who conspired to come up with this plan to present it out here like that. So, I mean, once again, based on the precedent that they've set surrounding January 6th and other things, this is conspiracy, which, like I said, I think that, and they're openly saying it. You could even say that they're trying to incite a sedition at this point and an overthrow of the government. That's what they're attempting to do, and it's really outrageous. I mean, it really is. I mean, a congressperson should be held to a higher standard than normal grandmas who are just showing up to pray at the Capitol on January 6th. And this guy's out here using his position of power to try to overthrow the government.
Yeah, and he's doing it from the floor of the House. Now, I don't know for sure if everybody he mentioned is actually involved in this or even knows about it. And he went down to, I guess there's not Kinko's anymore, wherever you go to get things printed so he could have his little graphic, his little stand there next to him. But yeah, it basically the idea is they're going to then prop up all these people. Those are what you're going to see on, well, I don't know if MSNBC will still be around or CNN for that matter, but whatever leftist media group becomes their voice, they're gonna turn to them every single time. They're gonna pretend they have legitimacy and that they have some kind of authority or power. And this is going to be another tool for propaganda to divide America and to take away from Trump's agenda, so allow them to get their message out and to mask the real agenda of President Trump and his officials.
Yeah, well, I mean, who was it? Strafer over here in one of the chats says, there's your true insurrection. And that's exactly what this is, what we're seeing right now. I mean, I can't even believe that these people have the audacity to come out here and to do this. Honestly, I mean, they're at the very least, as I think it's Philip. Yeah, Philip on the Twitter chat says, at the very least, they're trying to incite civil unrest. And that's what they've been doing. This is exactly who the Democrats are. This is exactly what their game plan is. I mean, they've been doing this ever since really Trump came on the scene. They used to be passive aggressive before Trump. They would try to play both sides of the fence and try to get away with it. But since Trump came on the scene, they've been very open about their hatred, their violence, their intolerance of other people's beliefs. If you wear a MAGA hat or whatever, and they really want their people to hurt our people. And then they can be like, well, you shouldn't do that, but we'll bail you out of jail and pay your legal fees. Sorry, good job, little buddy. That's what they're attempting to do right now.
Yeah, spin something else up. Well, they're not the only ones that are already showing their true colors. Incoming border czar Tom Homan's message to blustering Illinois Governor Pritzker's posturing on immigration policies. Game on. We've got no problem going through him. And he's not the only one that's come out and said that he will attempt to hide illegal aliens within their state. I believe the governor of Maine has also come out. I know that officials in Colorado have already come out, and then you got Gruesome Newsom over there in California essentially saying the same thing, that they're not going to comply, that they're going to put the illegal aliens that are invading our country over the American citizens, despite that this is clearly the will of the people. And it even goes beyond just people that voted for Trump. 70% of people, which means approximately 50% of Democrats, they want a mass deportation. So this is widely the will of the people. They can't even pretend it's just the percentage of the country that voted for Trump. This is across the board.
I want to say this right now. If there are any governors who purposely attempt to stall Tom Homan and the Trump administration from these mass deportations, if there's any of these governors who attempt to aid and abet and harbor these people and keep them safe and hide them from us, I want to see those governors dragged out of their governor's mansions in shackles with the whole world watching, news cameras everywhere. Make an example out of these bums, hold them right there and hold their feet to the fire. And then after we deport everybody out of their state, we take those governors and we go and set them in front of a military tribunal, because that's exactly what needs to happen with the shenanigans that they're pulling right now.
Yeah, at the very least, we'll put them in jail for the rest of their lives for interfering in a federal investigation for every single deportation that they tried to obstruct. So they want to play games like this. I think it's time to take the gloves off and take these fools down. They're half the reason our country's in the state it is right now. So it's time to send a message that this kind of insolence will not be tolerated. We don't need any more, fake heroes, virtue signaling for their ever diminishing group of voters. Sorry about all your invaders and your plan to flood the country with illegal votes. It didn't work. Trump won the election. The American people spoke. We are doing mass deportations. You can sit down and shut the hell up.
Well, I mean, once again, man, I mean, these people are here illegally. They invaded our country. So if you as a governor want to hide these people, you want to protect those people, you want to go against your own president, your own federal government who is attempting to clean our country up and keep it safe, and you want to go against them to harbor terrorists and people who are here illegally, as far as I'm concerned, you're going against the Constitution. You're going against the American people. And therefore, Tom Homan and his whoever is underneath his command should have the authority to go right in there into those governor's mansions and drag them right out of there in shackles with the whole world watching, and then deport every single illegal alien they can get their hands on, and then turn around and put those governors on trial in a military tribunal and hold them accountable and give them the swiftest and harshest punishment that they can get, once again, with the whole world watching. That's what needs to happen right now. I'm sick and tired of these patty cake politics. I'm sick and tired of this bipartisan BS of attempting to play nice with these people. They have invaded our country, and they are knowingly going against an enemy of the United States of America. While, even worse, it'd be bad enough for citizens to do it, but they are an elected official and actually governors of states, and they were knowingly and going out of their way to work with the enemies of the United States of America. That is literally the definition of treason, and they need to be held accountable for it.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah, they're going to have to degrease Gavin Newsom before they lock him up, or he'll just slide right through those prison bars and escape. Now, we also got this fool out there, John Bolton, one of my our all-time favorite warmongers. Rhino, John Bolton accuses Tulsi Gabbard of pushing Russian propaganda, calls Gates worst nomination in history, and calls for full field FBI investigations into Trump nominees. Elon Musk responds. Well, I don't know what the mustache here is thinking. You know, he's now a private citizen. Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, they're not accused of any wrongdoing. They're just up for positions that he doesn't want them to be in. So if anybody needs an investigation, it's probably Bolton. You know, see if who greased his palms when this guy was called for war in every country in the Middle East. I don't know. These people, they're past their prime. I think they know investigations are coming, and I'm sure a lot of them are afraid they're tied to things that could land them in jail. And the truth's going to be coming out sooner or later about all these fools, including Bolton.
Well, here's the thing on that too. Like, you know, they're claiming that these cabinet picks have all this dirt and these crimes and all this. It's like, so why did you not bring it up until now? Like, it wasn't a big deal when they were Congress people. It wasn't a big deal when they were in this position. It wasn't a big deal when they were doing that. But now all of a sudden that Trump is wanting to put them into a cabinet position, now you've got to come up and bring all this stuff and say you can't do it. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the same equivalency of these people who's like, oh, 57 years ago, President Trump touched me in a changing room. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember what year it was. I don't remember what month it was. I don't remember anything. I don't remember what store it was, but it happened. Get out of here with this, man. We're tired of this. That would have worked in 1998, maybe 2004, but we're way past that. We know that this is all BS at this point, and we're not going to buy it.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what this guy's talking about with Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not aware of her being accused of any kind of crimes or anything else. I know somebody at the State Department put her on a terror watch list that shouldn't have, and that's a perfect reason to have her as a DNI to get to the bottom of who's corrupt there, who is misusing their position to inflict damage on their political enemies, because that's going to stop right now. No more of that. No more throwing Ivan Raiklin or anybody else on the Quad S list for no reason at all, or you, Derrick. It ends. If you're using your position to harm your political foes, sorry, you're losing your position. You're gone. And if there's criminal charges that can be pressed against these people, they should be.
Absolutely. Well, quick shout out over in the Twitter chat to Alex Bostic, Adnal. Sorry if I said that wrong, Adnal. And then Trump won. Let's fix it over here as well. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Dan Dreyer over in the Rumble and one of the Rumble chats. Appreciate you, man. I know you can't stick around, but I know you're going to watch on a replay. So yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's going on though, man. We gotta clean this place up. And these people, all of them, and especially the rhinos, they all got to be reminded that we did not vote for you. We voted for President Trump. Most of you rhinos got elected because you were wearing the same color jersey as President Trump. Not because anybody likes you, not because anybody believes in you, not because anybody thought that you was going to come up here and have the courage to do something. We thought you was going to fall in line with President Trump. Simple as that. If you go look at all these states, not a single senator outperformed President Trump in their state. You know what that says? That says that none of you dragged President Trump across the finish line in your state. He dragged every single one of you across the finish line, and now every one of you want to turn around and stab him in the back, stab MAGA in the back, and you want to go out here and do your own globalist warmongering, Capitol Hill, neocon BS. And we're sick of it. And I'm sorry, but every single one of you out here who's opposing Matt Gaetz for attorney general and these other cabinet picks, you either need to fall in line or you need to get primaried upcoming in the next election. And the MAGA base across the country is going to rally behind these people, and we're gonna get rid of you because we're tired of this. We're not playing these games anymore. There's a new energy, a new hope, a new once again energy behind the MAGA base right now that we didn't have coming out of the 2020 election because everybody knew they stole it from President Trump and the American people. Now that we got this taste of victory back in our mouths, we are not going to let our foot off the gas and allow you to rhinos to turn around and halt this administration like you did the first 2 years under Paul Ryan and John McCain, all that stuff like you did with Obamacare. All that. We're not going to deal with that this time around. So you guys are all going to be exposed, every single one of you.
Yeah, and I noticed somebody in the House leaked some information about Matt Gaetz and the investigation into him. You know, our media is focusing on that he was accused of, like sleeping with a 17-year-old. Well, you know what they forgot to mention in their leak is the FBI agents that were investigating this, they were caught trying to solicit bribes from Gaetz to keep their mouths shut. They wanted millions of dollars to... Well, they were trying to frame him, and they wanted millions of dollars to shut up. That's why the DOJ dismissed this 2 years ago, because there's nothing to it. But again, now we've got, corrupt people in our media that refuse to tell the truth, ignoring the facts, and instead focusing on this fake corruption charge to try to, get energy to... dismiss Gaetz without seating him. Well, I don't think that's going to work. I think there's already a plan together, and we need Matt Gaetz. If they're this afraid of him, we really need him in that position just to clean house.
So this happened 2 years ago, as you just said. The DOJ 2 years ago threw this case out on Matt Gaetz, and the reason this timeline is very important. You got to remember, 2 years ago, within the last 2 years, this has been a weaponized DOJ going against Trump, going against Trump supporters, going against anybody who's even remotely conservative out there in this country. They've been weaponized, and they've been coming after people with everything they have. And that weaponized DOJ, the one we just discussed, that raided Melania's underwear drawer, that raided Mar-a-Lago, attempted to throw President Trump in prison for thousands of years, all of his supporters the same. They, of all people, looked at this case and threw the charges out because they said there was not enough evidence. So that tells you all you need to know, that there is no evidence of any of this happening. And the only reason they're upset and trying to prevent this from Matt Gaetz becoming attorney general is because they know that he's not going to play ball with them. They're not going to be able to continue doing all the BS behind the scenes that they do. Plus, he's been in Congress for a while, and he knows where all the bodies are at. He knows where they're at. Yeah. He's going to go uncover them. He's going to go prosecute these people and their donors, and they know that, and that's why they're scared to death of allowing this to happen. And once again, shame on every single Republican, especially those Senate Republicans who are right now blocking this and fighting this. They need that. Once again, I'm just so frustrated with all of them, and we need to keep the pressure on them and remind them that at the end of the day, they work for us. And we elected President Trump, not them. And we all love the Matt Gaetz pick. I think everybody was shocked that it happened in a good way. And just like, yes, man, this is amazing. Like, sign me up for this. And if President Trump would have said this before the election, that he was going to make Matt Gaetz attorney general, I'd have said, hey, hold up, man. You don't have to give me another reason to vote for you. I'm already voting for you. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, and I'm glad he kept this quiet till after the election, because otherwise this would have been used to bludgeon him. This would have been used by our media. Half these cabinet picks. I mean, they already knew about Elon and RFK Jr., and I think there are a few others they kind of assumed that they tried to use those as reasons to not vote for him. And let's also, back to Gaetz, let's also remember, like, when they brought this stuff up before, it was try to cost him the election in 2022 and cost him his House seat, and it didn't work. So we already know what's there. We've already dealt with it. There's no reason to rehash this old garbage unless you want to do it in a way to illustrate how corrupt our Department of Justice is again. And, I wonder if these agents that were soliciting bribes from him, are they in jail? Because if not, well, hopefully the statute of limitations hasn't run out yet.
Absolutely, that's a good point. And D-Wack Boomer, great point over here, says Daddy's home, and that's exactly right. All you rhinos in the Senate right now and out here on Capitol Hill, you need to fall in line because Daddy Trump is coming home, and he's going to put you guys in line. I can't wait to see it.
That's right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. It might not be the time to gather. Whoopi Goldberg tells viewers to avoid family they can't stomach this Thanksgiving. And she's not the only one. Joy Reid's out there saying the same thing. You had some other third mental case out there saying it, probably more. That basically, if your relatives voted for Trump, it's time to detach yourself from them. Yeah, there was an article. That's what it was. I read a piece. Oh, I can't remember who wrote it now. I read a piece someone else wrote about how she was struggling dealing with this and that she knew that she had relatives and her husband had relatives that supported Trump, and they're just going to have Thanksgiving with just their family now because they can't even trust their relatives. They might have voted for the orange man who will, come in to exterminate them at some point, I assume.
So much for the party of tolerance at the end of the day.
Yes.
I mean, this is unbelievable the way that they are acting. And you know what? I know this has been going on for a while. From what I've noticed, and I listen to a lot of Twitter spaces. I've met, we travel all over the place, Mike, covering different things. What I've come to realize is anytime I meet somebody who has lost a family member over politics, it is always the liberal who is refusing to associate with the Trump supporter. I'm sure there's a few exceptions, but like I've never met a Trump supporter who's like, I cut my Uncle Jimmy off because he voted for Joe Biden. I hope that guy, I hope he has the worst life, from here on out. I want nothing to do with him. I can't stand him. He's not invited to Thanksgiving. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got some of my own family and know other people who said, I dread seeing these people because all they want to do is talk about politics and they're liberal. That's different. But to say that they're no longer your family because of the way they voted, I've never met a conservative who has done that. It's always those on the left, the party of tolerance.
Yeah, well, it's like anything else. If they didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all. It's all fine as long as they're in charge and they're on top. The minute something else happens, they just flip out and throw these little toddler temper tantrums. I really cannot talk today. But yeah, it's really sick seeing this and seeing it spread. Same with a lot of these other movements with these just retards on the left, that they don't like how the election turned out. They don't live in reality anymore. So instead, what they want to do is take it out on their family members or their neighbors or whatever. I mean, you weren't seeing videos of Trump supporters in 2020 melting down and throwing temper tantrums or crying or shaving their heads or any other nonsense the left does every time they lose an election. They act like it's literally the apocalypse. Well, and it may be the apocalypse for liberalism, because I think at the end of this 4 years we'll have exposed enough of their stuff from behind the scenes that they won't have much of a voting base left. Especially as we move all these illegal aliens out of the country, we straighten out our election systems, and we take care of some of these other problems. They might not be able to win dog catcher in Walla Walla, Washington anymore.
That's a great point. And Sue Gallagher over in the Twitter chat says The View is the most toxic show on the air. Those ladies, goodness, starting with Whoopi is mental, and that is 100% the truth. These people are, it's insane. Go ahead, Mike.
I hear they're going to force a Trump supporter onto that panel, and I'm just waiting for the freak out when that happens.
When I got out of prison for January 6th, I reached out to them and told them I'd love to come on their show, and they could say whatever they wanted to, because I just wanted the opportunity to look them in the face and just tell them off. I mean, that's exactly, I did my national media tour, and they did not want to have me on their show, but I was like, I would be more than willing to come on there and discuss and answer any questions you guys have. And they don't want to do that. They'd rather just bash me and not have us on there to actually defend ourselves.
Oh, exactly. Well, speaking of turncoats, we've also got this from our favorite turncoat.
What?
Pence calls on Senate to block RFK Jr.'s HHS nomination. Turncoat Mike Pence says he is literally praying that Trump doesn't pardon January 6th prisoners. What a sick bastard. This guy, I used to just think he was a spineless loser, but I am more and more disappointed in Mike Pence every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, When it comes to Mike Pence, there's a lot that can be said. Obviously, as me, especially considering everything, how it went down. At the end of the day, January 6th happened because Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what he was constitutionally allowed to do. Now, they want to claim he didn't have the authority to do that, but then they turn around and changed the rules on this and changed the law on that so that nobody could do what we were asking Mike Pence to do. So if they had to change the law,
yeah, then clearly there's something he could have done before. Derrick, did you freeze, or was this just too much for you? We might have lost Derrick, at least temporarily. But yeah, if Pence had just done what he was supposed to do, then we wouldn't have been in this situation that we're in now. And sorry, I thought he was trying to jump back on. Ironically, that law change is now going to force Kamala Harris. She can't object to Trump's nomination anymore in the House, and will have to approve him as president. Have to approve the votes as they came in. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do two things at once. Get Derrick back on here and fix this. So I apologize. Give me just a second here. It's always something, though, isn't it? Let me see. His Starlink may have gone out. All right, guys. Sorry about that. That's the problem with producing a show live. Give me 1 second to pull this up, see if he's able to rejoin. Let me tell him real quick. Yeah, it looks like we are still out on the air. All right, guys, sorry about this. Well, he's trying to rejoin. We'll go ahead and pull up our next story. Hang on a second. Maybe we are offline. Give me 1 second. I got to boot this fake connection. Sorry, guys, and I apologize for all this. But that's what happens when you don't have a producer, or when you're the producer. All right. I bumped him off, so I should be able to jump back on now. And again, sorry, guys, for the confusion. Go ahead and pull this next story, get it prepped here. Show without me. Okay. We'll give him another chance. Let me pull our next story here. So breaking... Sorry, guys. Up there we go. Let me add Derrick back in, and then we'll get to this story. Derrick, you're back. Let me get you added back on here. All right, you already did. All right. Yeah, sorry. And then I lost my place after you it bumped out. But we're going to go ahead and get into the next story now that you're back before Starlink sends you off to wherever again. Breaking: Democrat commissioners in Bucks County, PA brag about defying the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruling and continuing to count illegal ballots. I mean, this is sick and disgusting. Like, they're openly saying they know they're defying the courts. They even said, well, that's what it'll take to get a new hearing, that nobody follows the law anymore. I mean, 2 out of these 3 people should be in jail. Apparently the Republican that's on there has tried to stop them, but they're just going to do whatever they want. It's lawless. And this is after the race has already been called for the Republican.
So I want to get into this really quick. I'm excited to do this. So quick one, shout out to Natalie in the Twitter chat asking if it's live. Yes, it is. There's your proof. Philip, when I went away, said they probably raided him again, which is hilarious because it definitely could have happened. So that's hilarious that you would say that. But on this note, so you got to remember, Coy Griffin out of New Mexico. So there's 2 elected officials who went to prison for January 6th. I'm one of them in the entire country. Coy Griffin is the other. Coy Griffin was an elected county commissioner in New Mexico. He refused to certify the fraudulent election. He wanted there to be proper audits and stuff before he certified on that. And they not only they used civil insurrection. Look it up. They took him to civil court, charged him with insurrection, and removed him from his office. He can never hold office again until he gets a pardon from President Trump. I'm sorry, but once again, they've made the precedent. That's what we need to do to these people right here who are sitting here and knowingly defying the law. They need to be go through the court system if we need to and remove these people from office because they're obviously unwilling to uphold their oath of office and do their duty. If I was in that position and I knew that Trump lost my county or whatever, and it was like a legal election, and I knew that, I would certify it. But that's not the case here. They're not claiming there's any fraud. They're over here trying to find votes that are not legally cast. That's what they're doing. That is totally different than saying, hey, I want to audit. If they were calling for an audit or wanting to do a recount, I mean, as much as I love election integrity, it'd be hard for me to argue against that. I would say, well, they should have the authority to do that, and I support that. But that's not what they're doing. They're trying to take illegal votes that were placed in this bucket over here and say we're going to take these illegal votes and put them into the real bucket. Now we're going to count these. That is not the same thing. That is literally openly in front of everyone cheating in an election, and nothing's being done about it. Where's the county sheriff in this town? Where's the constitutional sheriff to go in and arrest these people for breaking the law and doing what they're doing right now? That's why it's important to start electing constitutional sheriffs all across this country, to start going in here and holding these people accountable. That's no way we're going to fix this. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we really need to be focusing on. Yeah, what is going on with this thing now? There we go. All kinds of things are going wrong tonight. And that's something we really need to be focused on over the next 2 years. I know I kind of mentioned this to you guys a few days ago, and it is something that we're going to start doing going forward, is bringing on experts in different subjects in different areas to kind of present to you what they believe the agenda should be for this item or that item. And constitutional sheriff's definitely one of those. We'll have to bring Sheriff Mack back on again, but he's great about this. And this is, again, another stopgap that we can have for when our politicians go crazy. You can still have a constitutional sheriff that will lay down the law and do what's required constitutionally for that area. And there's also another illustration of why we need a strong attorney general that's constitutional, like a Matt Gaetz, to go out and crush people like this when they have the audacity to steal the election from their constituents. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're going through right now, and they want to count ballots that they couldn't verify signatures, ballots that came in after Election Day, beyond that, and apparently just some mystery ballots that just showed up from somewhere. We'll have to figure out where those came from, too, and then arrest whoever was involved. Same with any of these other ones that appear to be fraudulent. That's what we ought to start doing, or need to start doing, is backtracking illegal ballots and making these people face charges when possible. But this has got to stop. Well, DWAC Boomer brings up a really good point over in the Rumble chat, and one of them, and says this is a federal election. U.S. Marshals should be called in, and that's exactly right. And I don't know, I'm a little ignorant on this. I know there's a lot of people who's going to pretend that they know where all these positions fall under. We really talk about them every 4 years. As the president's picking their cabinet picks, you forget some of these positions actually exist. I don't know which department the U.S. Marshals actually falls under, but whoever it is, I'm sure that Trump's appointing a pretty based, awesome person in that position who wants to rid this corruption as much as anyone else, because based on the cabinet picks he's chosen so far. And I hope that they do that. I hope that they take the U.S. Marshal Service, go in there and take these people and arrest them, because that's the only way that they're going to stop doing this, and that's the only way they're going to stop doing it in the future. It's time to start giving them a taste of their own medicine, hold these people accountable, and preserve the Constitution of the United States of America. Bingo. Well, I got another good one for you here. So, Chucky Schumer, Democrat Schumer, goes full speed ahead, ramming Biden judges through before the new Congress begins. You know what? What we ought to do now, the Senate, do they have the same rules as the House where they can't move forward with things if there's not a quorum and not enough people are there? Well, you know what? We need some Republicans need to show some testicular fortitude, especially with them creating a shadow government over in the House. Maybe they ought to just start their Christmas holiday early. You know what? They ought to just step out for Thanksgiving and not come back for a while. At least every time they want to call a vote on something like this, or a judge, or if he was trying to slip these through without proper hearings, it's time to pull the brakes on their shenanigans. They waited this long. They were expecting a Kamala Harris victory somehow. I don't know how they could have possibly thought that was going to happen. So they didn't act early enough to push these judges through. And now Chuck Schumer wants to ram them through at the last minute. Sorry, homeboy, but you missed your opportunity, and the Republicans better put a stop to it. Well, here's the issue. So the headline says that Chuck Schumer's trying to ram through Joe Biden judges. When
Yeah.
reality, Chuck Schumer is attempting to ram through uniparty judges. And that's why you
True.
will not see the Republicans in the Senate step away and refuse to show up to prevent a quorum so that they cannot do this, because at the end of the day, they're judges too. We have a majority in the Senate right now. We're getting ready to in January. We'll have a majority in the Senate in Republicans, but the uniparty is still the majority. The conservatives, the MAGA senators, are still the vast minority in this group. And so that's the game we're playing right now. Is we have this is a uniparty at work right now. That's why they won't do that, because at the end of the day, they would rather, these Capitol Hill Republicans would rather Chuck Schumer push through the Biden judges, because it's uniparty judges. They would rather have that happen than to block this stuff from happening and then turning around and putting in MAGA Trump judges, because that doesn't fit their agenda. Isn't it fascinating right now that you have our Republican senators who are purposely and openly blocking Matt Gaetz from becoming Attorney General, but they're doing nothing to prevent Chuck Schumer from ramming through these Biden judges in the meantime? That is fascinating when you really think about it.
Well, that's why there's going to be a lot of people facing primary challengers. And, as Elon Musk stated, anybody blocking Matt Gaetz, he's going to start another nonprofit and begin financing their demise. And he's not the only one. Tim Pool saying the same thing. There's a lot of people that are done with this uniparty bullshit, and they aren't going to tolerate it anymore. It's time to put a stop to this. We need leaders that actually represent us. That doesn't mean they all have to move in lockstep all the time. If we're talking the intricacies of some issue and you got two different people that can't come to terms with it, that's fine. As long as they're on our side and they're still arguing they're still real conservatives that are putting America first. We don't have to all get along all the time. But the fact that we have these saboteurs there that intentionally defy the will of the people constantly and instead side with the uniparty, they need to go. We don't have time for this anymore. We got a country to save.
Well, that's exactly right. At one point, there's always been Republicans and Democrats. We know there's the Whig Party, all these different parties, but and so at the end of the day, though, they as a whole, they all loved America, loved the Constitution. They had different ideas as to how they wanted to achieve that American dream. We don't have that right now. We really don't. The left, and even the uniparty, I should say, the globalist, warmongering neocon Republicans on Capitol Hill fall into this category for the most part. They don't want that. They are actively have sold themselves out to these donors and to everything else, and they're actively working. Even if they don't realize it, they're actively, some of them do realize it, but they're actively working towards the demise of our country right now. There is an active and orchestrated plan to try to collapse America from within, so that way they can roll out the globalist agenda that they want to do with Bill Gates and all of them to really put us under the world thumb. That's what this all comes down to. And we got a short window here to actually make some serious changes and to save this country. And we need to take advantage of it while we have the opportunity.
Bingo. Well, we do have some good news to cover here before we wrap the show up. X sees return of major advertisers as NewsGuard and the Boycott Cartel come under fire from the FCC. Well, you can't keep them chained down forever. Things change. The election also sent a message. So this is good news for all of us. Not only is X still a free platform open to voices from all corners, but now the advertisers will be returning, which helps Elon Musk, which helps all of us, which helps grow the platform, and also helps all the user base right now that draw the checks from engagement and everything else. So this is a win all around, and it's breaking this corrupt cartel that was up there for basically political reasons, to shut down free speech.
Well, at the end of the day, these advertisers came back because they really didn't have a choice, in my opinion. They tried to starve Elon Musk out, if you will, in terms of the revenue on that. But Twitter continued to grow. And the reason why is people on both sides are hungry for free speech. He's made so many changes in terms of that. Is it perfect? No, of course not. It probably never will be. But he's made some serious changes to really foster and improve free speech on the platform and to stop censoring and all these different things. And as the platforms continue to grow, and really when you saw in this last election, you saw mainstream media, the coverage for these mainstream media platforms, it dropped by over 25%. And where were these people? Those 25% didn't just stop all of a sudden watching election not coverage. No, they were going to Twitter and other places and getting that. And so Disney and all those places, they were kind of forced to, I believe, into playing ball here with Elon Musk and coming back to the platform. But as you said, it's a great thing for all of us here who believe in free speech and want to see this continue to grow and thrive. And appreciate all you guys for watching the show, really do, and interacting with us. Love when you guys are in the chats and all that, and be part of the show, and especially here on Twitter, it's really picking up in terms of the chats there. I think people are starting to figure out, the streaming side of things on Twitter. It's fairly new to that. Elon's got some huge plans, wants it to Twitter to basically be an all-encompassing social media platform. I think they got plans to have streaming on Roku and everything else in the not-so-distant future. So there's some big plans with all this, and we're happy to be a part of it here at the Insurrection.
Yeah, exactly. Just a couple more things I do want to get to, because this story we've skipped a couple nights now, and I really want to make sure we get this out there. So from our friends at Zero Hedge, they just got handed fraudulent books. Ed Dowd confirms our warning that Trump is inheriting a turd of an economy. Ed Dowd is a very, very smart guy. And essentially right now, well, we've already seen, publicly with the Fed chair, Jerome Powell refusing to step down or be replaced by President Trump, and other things going on behind the scenes, them fixing interest rates, moving those down again, which is, with the inflation right now, that is not the right move. With the yield curve, we're headed towards some very bad economic times. I kind of feel like things are going to break before Trump takes office, but I think their goal is to, about the same time Trump is sworn in, have the economy come crashing down so they can blame that on him, and then use that as a club to try to bludgeon him so he can't move his will can't move his agenda and our will forward as effectively.
Well, here's the thing. If Jerome Powell wants to refuse to step down from the Federal Reserve, I think it's actually a good thing. I think that's a good thing to open Trump's eyes to just how corrupt these people are, and maybe it'll actually incentivize him to do what we all want to do: end the Federal Reserve, end and abolish it. Guess what, Jerome? You don't have to step down. You can ride the sinking ship all the way to the bottom of the ocean, bud, because at some point we're going to end the Federal Reserve, and your little cushion job, all this power, all this corruption, all this money laundering, it's going to come to an end. We're done with it, and it's only a matter of time until you will be stepping down, or you'll be riding it down the sinking ship to the bottom, and we don't really care which one you choose. But I love that he's saying that publicly. I love it because I think that what's one of those things that, once again, he's trying to force President Trump's hand on this issue. And I think that's a winning strategy for us. I think it's a losing strategy for him, but I think it's a winning strategy for those of us who want to not just, we want to completely abolish the Federal Reserve. And he's given us all the ammo that we need to see that happen. But Mike and I were talking as it became obvious that we were going to have an election. And then as it became obvious that without any, massive fraud, that Trump was going to win, we've been talking for the last little bit actually about how, I think we've both said, I think they're going to let Trump win, and then they're going to attempt to crash the economy, so then they can spend the rest of the next decade or something blaming it on Trump and his policies to try to crush the MAGA movement post President Trump, because they couldn't crush it while Trump was still running for office because it's too powerful. But if they can crash the economy, Trump can never run again, and then they can try to crush it after Trump can no longer run for office. I think that's their plan to do this. But I have faith in President Trump and the people he's surrounding himself with to save this thing and to keep us from heading that. But I think that's their plan.
Yeah, and I think they probably will be able to crash things short term, but I do think Trump will have them bouncing back so fast that it'll be forgotten about 4 years from now, or even 2 years from now in the next election cycle. But yeah, short term, I think they'll be able to do it. They control the levers right now, and they can pull the plug. So it's going to happen. They can't control exactly when it happens, but they've already set the stage. I wouldn't be surprised to see something major happen in the stock market beginning of December, maybe even sooner. Something negative. I don't think they're going to be able to hold out until Trump's sworn in with some of the decisions that they've made over the last several months and the state things currently are in. But I do have faith that Trump will be able to turn it around very, very quickly. We got one last thing I want to get to, just because this is completely insane. private practices, public violations. Leftist mental health professionals violate ethical standards over Trump's election. And this is in a wide variety of ways. And there have actually already been some arrests because of this too, with one guy that was referring patients out for lockup for 72-hour holds and other type of psych evaluations because they were Trump voters. I think this guy was either in Washington State or Oregon. I don't remember which. But this is message boards that people are leaking things from. A lot of psychiatrists and psychologists that are not deranged Biden-Harris voters have been leaking some of this out, because what they're talking about is either referring patients out just to their Trump voters, saying they don't feel safe, talking to them or working with them anymore, referring them out to other people. Other ones, it's more insidious, like I said, giving them actual referrals for 72-hour holds, Baker Act, whatever, depending on what state you're in, what they have access to. And then others that are publicly now talking about it and revealing things about their patients on these forums, which are clear HIPAA violations. It's just really sick how these leftists operate, where they abuse their position of power that they've been granted and use it against their political enemies. But we see this all the time, and it's almost always one-sided.
Dude, this almost sounds like a joke, like it's parody. Like so you have these quote unquote mental health professionals, which most of them have mental health issues of their own. And so basically, if they found out you were a Trump supporter, they were sending you to get mentally evaluated and all these other things to attempt to make your life miserable or whatever for being a Trump supporter, basically. And yeah. So realistically, if you are a medical professional and you were that brainwashed, I'm sorry, you should have your medical license revoked. At the very minimum, you should never be allowed to practice any sort of health stuff again if you're going to be brainwashed and weaponized against that. And it really brings up a bigger issue of just how weaponized that whole industry is as well. I mean, you think about it. You go into the doctor for a cold and they ask you, do you have guns in the house? And I'm sorry, I look at the doctor and say, I'm not here to be seen about my trigger finger. If I'm not here getting seen about my trigger finger, then you don't need to be asking me about guns. That's the only reason you should be asking anybody about their gun, is if they're there because their trigger finger is hurting for some reason. But these people think that they have the authority to ask you these questions, and it's downright unconstitutional. It's insulting, and it's really just a backdoor way of them getting this information to feed to the government to put you on a list or something else. It's really unacceptable, and I hope it's another thing that President Trump and his team clears up.
Yeah, every one of these people should have their license revoked, including the ones that went through their patients' Facebook profiles and tried to determine if they were Trump supporters or not. And
they
then
did that?
Yeah, that was part of how they were doing it, was going through, seeing who they were supporting and talking about. And then if they were a Trump supporter, they would refer them out, say, I don't want to see this patient at my practice anymore. And they'd refer them out to somewhere else or tell them to go pound sand, basically. I mean, it was a wide thing across the gambit. You can read the article. But again, it's really sick. And the fact that, again, this was orchestrated and planned on these. Yeah, exactly. Well, every one of them she brought up on charges. And again, that's why we can't let stuff like this slip under the rug. We can't forget about it. And that's why we do need good, strong attorney generals, somebody like Matt Gaetz. We need others at the state level that can revoke their medical licenses and make them actually suffer the consequences of their actions. You want to throw a temper tantrum in public and you're in a position like this? Well, then sorry, you're not competent to have that role anymore. You can cry about it, go write a book about it, go start a blog, but you're not competent to see patients anymore. Sorry.
This is insane, man. I mean, it really is. I mean, the fact that like you yourself have a very serious mental health issue. If a patient comes in to see you and you got a degree or whatever, and a patient comes in to see you, they leave and you're like, man, I don't know. This guy seems like a conservative. They pull out their file, get their name and information, look them up on Facebook, and then creep through their posts to see if they've posted anything about President Trump. And then if they do, to say, I'm no longer seeing this patient. That is insane. Like, that is next level. That is crazy, man. Like, that really is. Like, these people should be charged criminally, should have their law license removed, and they should also be sued civilly for, I mean, this is a civil rights violation. Imagine, I mean, you can't deny people health based on the color of their skin, sex, gender, or political beliefs. Like, this is not, yeah. I mean, this is crazy, man. Like, this is nuts.
Well, that's something else they want to implement. They want to implement social justice through medical care, especially in major cities. And this is something that's already starting to infiltrate our medical schools too. We probably ought to grab somebody doing a whole episode on this, but it's something I've listened to a few experts talk about already. So like, I wasn't super surprised when I saw this story because I already knew this is something that's been infiltrating our medical industry for a while now. In other countries, they're beginning to implement parts of this, race-based medicine, all this other just BS. But yeah, it's something we'll have to dig into more. Maybe I'll line up a guest that's an expert on it, and we'll bring somebody in like that maybe next week. I want to show you guys two things before we dip out, and then we got one other major announcement. So this is we're starting to see positive graffiti of President Trump pop up in different places. So spectacular murals pop up in Far, Texas of Donald Trump alongside an homage to Elon Musk. We got through to a lot of people in this election. I think things are changing. I know there's a similar one down in Atlanta that popped up, and everybody saw them taking down the Kamala Harris mural in Atlanta and then covering over it in red paint. Is absolutely beautiful. And I think we're going to see more of this as things progress and as all these libtards and the posing as journalists in the media continue to light themselves on fire as we get closer and closer to Trump's second term.
Absolutely. Well, want to give a shout out to Angie Ray over in the Twitter chat. Says, what's wrong with these people talking about the doctors, about how they're, taking doing this over people's political beliefs. It really is insane. Just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for joining the chat with us. Yeah, man, in terms of the murals, we're winning the culture war. I mean, I think we've seen that leading up to the 2024 election, with the podcast, with, just everything that was going on, the rap songs coming out, the TikTok dances that were going viral with President Trump, young people in the quote unquote the hood out here, repping President Trump everywhere. At the end of the day, we are winning the culture war. And I'll tell you where I think it started in this election. If you remember, people, I don't know if people forgot about it, but I think it really started when the mugshot came out with President Trump. And not only the mugshot, right before the mugshot was actually released publicly, when Trump and his whole Secret Service detail went down that alley in the hood of Atlanta, and all these minorities are out on the street, their video, and they're like waving as it's going by, and they're like, whoa, man, he's rolling in deep, all this stuff. Like, that was a turning point in terms of the culture and the everyday people supporting President Trump. And then when the mugshot came out, that was when they kind of the cat was out of the bag. There was no coming back for that from them. They thought it was going to hurt him. That's how out of touch with the reality these elites really are. They thought it was going to be the end of President Trump, and it was really just the beginning, and it's going to be so much better from here.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the fist in the air after taking a bullet in the ear, that's what really solidified it.
Yeah.
This guy bounced back like a hero. And people aren't dumb. They're not going to buy this media narrative when it doesn't match reality. And I think the media has broken all trust, and they're not going to get it back anytime soon. And there's an opportunity right now to reach a lot of new voters and a lot of new people and bring a lot of lives up out of poverty as things are changing right now in our nation, whether these Democrats posing as journalists in the media like it or not, and whether these deep state Republicans and useless Democrats, no matter what they do, what they say, things are going to change, and people are going to look at the results, not what they're saying. They're going to look at the results. All right, last thing here. So frequent guest of the show, Hannah Faulkner, she had a new book come out, Last Chance. I want you guys, please go to Amazon or to her website, which I think is Culture of 1776. I know you can buy it on Amazon. I should have asked her if she had it on her
Number 2 right now on Amazon, isn't it, Mike?
It is. That's what I was about to say. And books on sociology. Hang on, let me pull up her text real quick.
And just because we don't get anything out of this, she's just an amazing young lady. She's like 17, I think, is it, Mike? Or
17.
Homeschooled
good friend of the show.
Girl who started her own podcast. Excellent guest. She's been on the show a few times. Awesome family, awesome person, and like I said, we're not getting anything out of this. We just wanted to help highlight this and promote it because we thought it was a good book, and that she's a great person who deserves the recognition, and we're trying to uplift young people in this movement as well. So I just wanted to make it clear we're not getting anything out of this. We just wanted to promote her.
Yes. So again, that's Last Chance to Save the Republic. Please pick it up on Amazon. It's by Hannah Faulkner. That's HANNAHFAULKNER. Pick it up. She is number 2 right now on Amazon in Sociology of Social Theory. She's currently ranked 101 in politics and government, 54 in United States history, and 2,853 in books. But we can get her to number 1 in social theory pretty easily, and I bet we can bump her up in history and politics. Guys, go out, pick up the book. She's a great person, somebody who's young, passionate about the country, passionate about saving the United States, and I'm sure she's going to be back on here again. I don't want to hear from her that she never got above number 2, because then it'll be my fault. But guys...
Hold on, Mike, don't we have to tell them something about next week?
Oh, right. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Yes.
You always do the honors.
All right. So, guys, starting Monday, we are going to be on at 11 a.m. on Patriot TV. We'll still be streaming to all our... What's that?
Eastern time.
Yes. Sorry, 11 a.m. Eastern, beginning Monday on Patriot TV. We'll still be streaming to all of our normal destinations as well. And if you're not somebody that's able to watch in the morning, we'll still have the videos up in the evening. I want to thank you guys for all your help for us getting here and getting to this point. And that helped a lot for Patriot to pick us up full time. So Monday through Friday, you'll be able to find us 11 a.m. Eastern live on Patriot TV. We'll still be taking all your questions, reviewing the comments, still bringing you the same kind of guests we have been. Won't be really any changes to speak of, other than we'll be locked to an hour format. I won't be able to go over like we did today because we had a few extra things to get to. But again, I want to thank everybody for your help to get here. It really means a lot. And the fact that we'll be on General Flynn's network, Patriot TV, now Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, able to bring everybody the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear.
Yep, super excited, guys. Once again, you guys have been awesome. Going to continue rocking and rolling. In the evenings, we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. We still have some opportunity to do a few things here and there. Probably won't be as consistent in the evenings. We might do some Twitter Spaces and that sort of stuff as well. So we're not completely gone in the evenings, but we're taking the show over. It was a great opportunity. General Flynn's been great to all of us, really. And I got to know him pretty well through my last congressional campaign. He endorsed my campaign, came to West Virginia to help me out and everything. And so when we had the opportunity to take the show over to their network, it's a great network. It's growing. It's doing great. It was an opportunity. We couldn't pass it up at the end of the day. And so we're super excited about that. And like I said, you guys will still be hearing from us some, I'm sure, in the evenings. It just won't be like it is right now. But we look forward to catching you guys over there on Patriot TV. And we're, like he said, we're still going to be streaming to all these other places, Twitter and the Rumble channels and all of that as well. It just the live show will start taking place at 11 a.m. Eastern. But we appreciate you guys. And, hey, man, come hop in the chat at 11 a.m. on Monday. We'll see you guys.
That's right. We'll be there. And I think you'll see some Twitter Spaces throughout the week in the evening because I got nothing better to do. I got no life. It's just me and the dog. So I'm sure we'll be on in the evening at least a few times a week. But guys, thanks again for joining us tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And we'll be back again on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern with even more.